Floyd Mayweather just filed another massive lawsuit. This time, it's a $175 million lawsuit against Jona Rechnitz, a man who was supposedly one of his closest friends and trusted financial advisors.
One thing about me, I ain't got to be jail for the rest of my life. I can sit at home, I can sit at home and come every week.
And when you look at the details of what Rechnitz allegedly did to Mayweather, it's one of the most stunning examples of fraud and financial exploitation you'll ever see. This is a story about how even one of the most successful and intelligent athletes in the world can become a target for parasites when he's not careful about who he trusts with his money. Let me start by explaining who Jona Rechnitz actually is, because his background is critical to understanding this situation. Rechnitz grew up in Los Angeles. He moved to New York in 2008 or 2009 with aspirations to start a hedge fund.
He's the president of Taurus Emis and the Chafetz Chaim Heritage Foundation, the recipient of its most prominent Chesed Award. Shlomo was honored by UCLA.
It's essentially a private investment fund where wealthy people give you money to invest, and you take a percentage of the profits. But to start a hedge fund, you need credibility, you need connections, you need access. So Rechnitz did what a lot of unscrupulous people do. He started bribing government officials to get what he wanted. He bribed police officials, he bribed city officials, he bribed people in Mayor de Blasio's administration. He chartered private jets to Las Vegas with police officials on them. He took these officials to dinners, gave them presents, arranged trips with prostitutes. He was essentially running a sophisticated corruption scheme to build his network and gain access to people of influence and wealth. In 2015 and 2016, the Federal Bureau of Investigation came knocking. When the feds showed up, Rechnitz did what a lot of criminals do when faced with federal charges. He turned on everybody. He testified against the police officials he had bribed. He testified against union officials. He provided evidence of the corruption he had orchestrated. And in return for his cooperation, he got 5 months in federal prison. 5 months. For years of corruption and bribery. That's a remarkable deal. But the point is, Rechnitz went to prison, served his time, got out, and then moved back to Los Angeles, where he opened a jewelry store. And that's where his path crossed with Floyd Mayweather. Now, Floyd Mayweather is famously obsessed with luxury goods. He's famous for wearing ridiculous amounts of jewelry. He's constantly flexing expensive watches and chains. He buys jewelry like most people buy groceries. So it made perfect sense that Rechnitz, who owned a jewelry store, would eventually meet Mayweather. And over time, Rechnitz allegedly built a relationship.
Jona is also facing multiple lawsuits related to the luxury jewelry business.
Okay.
He opened in LA after the guilty plea in New York.
Yes.
Investors and lenders claim that Jona defrauded them and stole from them.
Okay.
You promoted jewelry for Jadel. Did those lawsuits surprise you?
I will always love Jona. I trust Jona, not just 10%, 20%, 100%. I'm not perfect, so.
With Floyd, they became friends, they became business associates, and eventually Rechnitz became Floyd's financial advisor and investment manager. That's the setup. A man fresh out of federal prison for corruption and fraud becomes a trusted financial advisor to one of the richest athletes in the world. And then he allegedly begins systematically stealing from him. According to the lawsuit that Floyd just filed, here's what Rechnitz allegedly did. He gained Floyd's trust over several years. Then he used that trust to move hundreds of millions of dollars of Floyd's money through accounts controlled by Rechnitz and his associates. He created fake investments. He made unauthorized wire transfers. He involved shady business entities, and through a network of criminals and associates, he systematically defrauded Floyd Mayweather of $175 million. Let's break down the specific allegations because they're absolutely stunning. First, there's the jewelry theft. Floyd had approximately $100 million worth of jewelry. According to the lawsuit, Rechnitz had access to this jewelry collection. What Rechnitz allegedly did was pledge this $100 million jewelry collection to 2 Miami-based jewelry stores as collateral in exchange for just $13 million in cash. Not $100 million, $13 million. Then, according to text messages,
he had access to Floyd's jewelry. Now, Floyd apparently had over $100 million worth of jewelry. So I could safe to assume Floyd has an addiction to shopping.
Lawsuit, Rechnitz allegedly directed the jewelry store owners to sell off the jewelry, break it down, melt down the gold, take off the diamonds, and liquidate it. The jewelry store owners allegedly agreed, and a substantial portion of that $100 million jewelry collection is still sitting in those Miami jewelry stores with no proper accounting of where the money went or where the jewelry is. So Floyd essentially lost 100.
My most expensive watch that I currently own is 18 million. One watch.
$1 million worth of jewelry for $13 million in cash that Rechnitz pocketed. Second, there's the Gulfstream jet. Rechnitz allegedly sold Floyd a 1996 Gulfstream jet and kept all the money from that sale. The lawsuit doesn't specify how much a used Gulfstream from the 90s would be worth, but luxury jets typically sell for tens of millions of dollars. Floyd allegedly paid for the jet and received nothing. Rechnitz kept the money. Third, there are the unauthorized wire transfers. The lawsuit alleges that Rechnitz orchestrated wire transfers of millions of dollars from Floyd's accounts to accounts controlled by himself and his associates. One example cited in the lawsuit is a $7.5 million bank transfer that was supposed to go from a loan taken under Floyd's name to pay some of Floyd's bills. Instead, Rechnitz allegedly redirected it directly to his own bank account. Fourth, there's the fake real estate deal. In March 2025, Floyd went on social media and bragged that he had purchased 62 apartment buildings in New York City for $400 million. He posted pictures of these buildings. He said, "All the buildings belong to me. I don't have no partners." But according to the lawsuit, the actual documented transaction was completely different. The only documented acquisition that Floyd actually made was a 5% membership interest in some real estate holdings for about $31.5 million. Nowhere near $400 million, nowhere near 62 apartment buildings. Floyd either lied on social media or Rechnitz lied to Floyd about what he was actually buying. Either way, the hundreds of millions of dollars Floyd thought he was investing in real estate either don't exist or went somewhere else entirely. Fifth, there's a $1 million deposit that was supposed to go toward a property purchase in New York in 2025, according to the lawsuit. Rechnitz redirected that money to a jewelry store owner in New York, and the property deal never happened. Floyd never saw that money again. When you add all of this up, we're talking about a systematic multi-year fraud scheme. We're talking about someone who was close to Floyd, someone Floyd trusted completely, someone Floyd gave financial power of attorney to, essentially using that position to systematically steal from him. And here's the most infuriating part. When confronted about some of this, Rechnitz's response was essentially, "I love you, Floyd. I trust you 100%. I'm not perfect." In other words, he tried to gaslight Floyd into thinking that somehow they were both victims of circumstances beyond their control. But this didn't happen in a vacuum. This happened while Floyd was also dealing with other massive financial issues. Last year, Floyd filed a $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Boxing and various other parties involved in his fight deals, claiming he wasn't paid for a significant portion of his fight earnings. The lawsuit alleges that for some of his biggest fights, including his bout against Manny Pacquiao, Floyd was supposed to get paid significantly more than he actually received. And now, on top of the Showtime lawsuit, on top of the Rechnitz fraud, the IRS filed a $7.3 million tax claim against Floyd in 2026 for unpaid taxes in 2018 and 2023. So when you look at Floyd's financial situation right now, he's involved in lawsuits totaling over $500 million. The Showtime lawsuit for $340 million, the Rechnitz lawsuit for $175 million, the IRS claim for $7.3 million, and possibly other financial disputes we don't know about. Now here's the critical question. How did this happen? How did Floyd Mayweather, one of the most successful and intelligent athletes in the world, become the victim of this kind of systematic fraud? The answer is actually pretty straightforward. Floyd became obsessed with displaying his wealth. He was focused on showing off. He was focused on proving to everyone that he was rich. He bought jewelry constantly. He bought cars constantly. He bought real estate constantly, but he wasn't paying attention to the details of his investments. He wasn't asking the right questions. He wasn't doing his due diligence on the people he hired. And when Rechnitz came along, Floyd saw what he wanted to see. He saw a Jewish businessman who presumably knew about investments and finance. He saw someone who owned a successful jewelry business. He saw someone who could help him grow his wealth. What he didn't do was Google Rechnitz's name. What he didn't do was research Rechnitz's criminal past. What he didn't do was ask why a man fresh out of federal prison for fraud would be interested in managing his finances. If Floyd had done basic research, he would have discovered that Rechnitz had spent years bribing government officials, that Rechnitz had been convicted of wire fraud, that Rechnitz had just gotten out of prison, that Rechnitz had already been sued by investors and lenders in his jewelry business for fraud. Those are all red flags that would have disqualified Rechnitz from managing anyone's finances.
We got options. I got about 100 cars. But right here, we like to call this the Sweet 16.
Let alone hundreds of millions of dollars. But Floyd didn't do that research. Floyd was too focused on the next big purchase, too focused on the next piece of jewelry, too focused on looking rich, and Rechnitz exploited that weakness. This is a classic case of how predators work. They find vulnerable targets, they build relationships slowly, they gain trust, and then they exploit that trust for profit. Rechnitz was preying on Floyd's weakness for luxury and display, and Rechnitz knew that Floyd wasn't paying close attention to the details of his finances. The irony is that Floyd is one of the most technically skilled boxers of all time. He's a defensive genius. He's known for his intelligence in the ring. He can read opponents and anticipate their moves. He's a strategic thinker when it comes to boxing. But outside the ring, in the business world, he's been proven to be careless, impulsive, and easily manipulated. And that's a tragedy, because Floyd earned every penny of the money that was stolen from him. He's not a trust fund kid. He's not someone who inherited wealth. He's someone who fought his way to the top of professional boxing. He earned millions of dollars through his own talent and work ethic, and then he allowed people like Rechnitz to steal it from him. So what comes next? Presumably, the IRS is going to collect what they can. Rechnitz is likely facing criminal charges for the fraud. But the question of whether Floyd will actually recover the $175 million is unclear. Even if Floyd wins the lawsuit, collecting on a judgment against someone like Rechnitz, who presumably spent the money or moved it somewhere, could be extremely difficult. The lesson here is simple but important. No matter how successful you are in one area of life, that doesn't make you successful in other areas. Just because you're a genius boxer doesn't mean you're a genius businessman. Just because you've earned millions of dollars doesn't mean you can safely invest hundreds of millions of dollars without proper oversight and due diligence. And the most important lesson is this: when you're wealthy and successful, you become a target. Parasites like Rechnitz are constantly looking for victims. They're looking for successful people who are focused on display rather than details. They're looking for people who trust too easily. They're looking for people who don't ask the right questions. Floyd could have prevented this entire situation by hiring an independent financial advisor. Someone with a clean background, someone with fiduciary responsibility, someone who would have said, no, you can't give this guy from prison control over your finances. But he didn't do that. He let his obsession with luxury and his trust in a con artist override his judgment. And now he's facing the consequences. One of the richest boxers in the world is potentially running out of money. And the only way he's able to stay relevant is by talking about fighting Mike Tyson, which is ridiculous given that both fighters are well past their primes. Let me know what you think about this situation in the comments. Do you think Floyd was naive to trust Rechnitz? Do you think Floyd should have done more due diligence on his financial advisors? What do you think happened to the money that Rechnitz allegedly stole? Drop your thoughts below and make sure you subscribe, because this lawsuit is going to be one of the biggest financial cases in sports history. We'll be following the legal developments as they unfold. We'll be analyzing what this means for Floyd's financial future. And we'll be examining what lessons other wealthy individuals can learn from this disaster. So subscribe now and hit the notification bell. Peace.